Bev, you know, Mike Weir's 2003 win at the Masters brought the green jacket north of the border for the first time and is one of the top moments in Canadian sports history. Now, in the new book, 100 Greatest Canadian Sports Moments, author James Bisson counts down our country's top sporting achievements. He joins me now. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
You didn't count these down yourself, so tell me how you came up with the top 100 moments.
Well, the first thing I did was I sort of put together a list on my own. I took it to some colleagues at the Canadian Press, as well as the Score Television Network, both places where I worked.
Yeah.
And from there, we came up with sort of an intermediate list. And then I went to some other journalists, Chris Cuthbert with TSN-TV, and a few other guys. We ended up with around 20 sets of votes, and then that's how we came to the list you see here.
Okay, now you have a top three, which we're going to talk about. But first of all, I wanted to talk about a couple things. One, the first mention of the and this is going to be so great for debate, which is what the book's all about.
Absolutely.
The first mention of the CFL is number 49. Edmonton winning 5 Stanley Cups. So, were you surprised that none of those Grey Cups, none of those Grey Cup games made it into the top 50, but one? None of them really.
Well, and again, as you say, it's sort of the interesting thing about the list is that you're going to have debate from all over the place. I think what may have happened with the CFL, and again, I can only speculate since I was just one of the voters, but what you had was almost like a vote split, where a lot of people were a little hesitant about which one should be higher up, and I think what ended up happening was, you know, things like hockey certainly stand out more, I think, with a lot of people.
Yeah, no kidding. And also, so number 7 is Terry Fox, which a lot of people consider nation building and not a sporting event. Were you surprised that Terry Fox was considered a sporting event?
Well, I think that what you see here is where it ended up at number 7, I believe reflects the way that the Canadian public feels about it. The majority of people are willing to recognize it as a sporting event, given that it was a form of athleticism and certainly unprecedented in this country. However, there are the minority of people who feel like maybe it shouldn't be included. It's not considered a field of play event, that sort of thing. So I think, again, you're going to get a real opposition there from people who disagree on it.
Okay, I need 15 seconds on each one. Number 3.
Number 3 is the Blue Jays back-to-back World Series. Definitely the trademark moment in Canadian baseball fans' minds. Things were kind of bleak before then, and they've been kind of bleak since, so it certainly stands out in people's minds.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2 is the Donovan Bailey win from 1996. A lot of that was sort of exercising the demons of 8 years earlier with Ben Johnson, and even Bailey will tell you that you know, he did it for Canada, first and foremost.
And number 1, I think, is a no-brainer for everybody.
No-brainer. Everyone pretty much had it at the top of the list. Summit Series 1972, much more than a sporting event, and certainly people who remember it know where they were.
All right, the book is certainly going to create a lot of debate. James Bisson, thank you very much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
A lot of debate. It's a good, and there's a lot of great pictures, too, as we said.